Hey YouTube, JGreen302. Another miscellaneous update. Lots of odds and ends. Primary reason I decided to fire up the camera and make this video was I had better do it now, or I won't have a chance to actually show this because this will get dispensed real quick. But I wanted to show you from my last update what I was talking about. There is maybe about $350 here. It is 20s, 10s, 5s, and lots of 1s. And I vacuum sealed and then taped everything up. And I got this idea from Packrat 512 or 517. I forget his exact call name. It's not my idea, but the idea, he showed this in one of his videos. I would say I must have seen it. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. 4 months ago. Never forgot it. So there's $350. Sealed, doesn't matter about water, moisture, mildew, nothing. And I finally saved up the money. Actually did about $1,000. I made one adjustment because I had a lot of time to think. The original suggestion was get yourself about $1,000, various denominations, and vacuum seal it. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it while I was saving up. And what I came to the conclusion is that I would rather excuse me, have $350 and save my bug out bag in the car that I always keep with me. One in my bug out bag and one in another bag. And the reason for my thinking here is I want one in the vehicle. Break down somewhere, I need some cash. The car one will also get a roll of quarters. But then I wanted one in my bug out bag. Make sure I had some cash as a barter trade, whatever item. And a third one in another bag, maybe my medical bag. This way, I will always, if I get separated from one, I always have a second and a third option. This made a lot more sense to me. And so finally, I've gotten, because if the electric goes out and the ATMs go out, re-Katrina, I'm still going to be able to function. And I still am working on this, but for the most part, you get the idea. Thought I'd show that because you gotta love a vacuum sealer. I mean, that's fantastic. So I thought I'd share that. What else? Now the miscellaneous stuff. If you haven't ever seen one of these, it's a can opener. It's not your standard can opener. It does it in a different way. I didn't know these existed, and again, somebody else in the community shared the tip, and I'm sharing it again. But what it does is it takes a normal can, and there's no jagged edge. There's no jagged edge. It actually pops the seal. And I've found, and it's a lifestyle, folks. All I can tell you is that, you know, every can I've opened with it, learning how to use it, kind of checking out what it does. And everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I wash all my cans, I wash everything that I open, I wash all my bottles, and I keep them. And you'd be surprised at how useful these things can be. And especially if things are bad, everything becomes valuable. I mean, everything, because you can't go to the store and pick up what you need. So you're going to need to start thinking in terms of reutilizing, recycling, and making the best of everything that you got. So that's a nice idea, and I'll give you an example. I'm talking to a fellow prepper out in West Virginia. We chat almost every night, and he came up with this idea, and I don't have it fully done out, but you can see 22 rounds, and he's putting a desiccant pad in, He's putting the lid on, and he'd said how he was going to seal this, but I'm still working on the idea. I haven't quite put one together, but you're starting to see where some of these things can become interesting, which will lead me into my next point. 22s. Checked and cleared and empty. Yada, yada, yada. Goddamn people in that. My guns have been checked and cleared. These 22s are fantastic. Took this one out to the range at a bowling pin shoot. And they had 22s, and then they had the big bores. Everybody likes shooting the big bores. Well, I went with the 22. And what I found is that we could knock those bowling pins down just as well. And I was really pleased. Now, with this particular model, always check your equipment, go out, run them through the paces, make sure everything's mechanically sound. Interesting thing came up. On this particular one, if you get a standard box of, 22s, and let me see. And in this case, they say 550 high velocity. Well, guess what? They may be high velocity, but they don't cycle this gun. You need CCI ammo to cycle this weapon. Until I put that ammo in, until I went to that shoot, I had no idea that this would not cycle on that ammo. And that really surprised me. So, 2 points here. 22s. Very nice to have. 500 plus rounds. Notice I can carry 3,000 rounds of this 22 ammunition, or 2 boxes of 45. Here's my thinking. If you're an idiot and you have no goddamn skills, I give you a shotgun with double-aught bug and say point and pull trigger. It's about as moron as I can get it and still make it work. If you think you have skills, well, then I can give you a 45 and watch you waste a lot of ammo, because you probably can't hit what you're shooting at. But if you do finally hit it, you'll probably, knock it in half, blow a hole through it, whatever. Fine. Big bore, big caliber. When it hits, it will do its job, and everybody has that philosophy. But if you are good and you have honed your shooting skills, you can do more damage with a 22, because I guarantee you, anybody you shoot in the face is not getting up. And if the shit has hit the fan and the hospitals are shut down, every 22 caliber round that you put into a human body is a death waiting to happen. It's just the amount of suffering that some bitch is going to go through before he finally dies. But if you hit him in the face, forget about it. That dude's down and he's having trouble, and I guarantee you, for as cheap as these rounds are, you can put the clip in him when he's down. So what? It's a good point. I like the idea so much. Went and picked up a slab side Smith & Wesson 22 and put a nice little optic on it. It's a nice 7-inch barrel, and clean check, blah blah blah. Okay. This thing, oh my God, let me tell you something. We can hang a target and the little logo at the bottom about who made the target, which is about that big. We can sit there at 7 yards and put a whole clip in that little hole. We can't do that with the bigger ones. We certainly can with one of these. Suddenly I fell in love with this bad boy. 22s, real nice to have. They're cheap, the ammunition's good. You want to go play Dirty Harry, go live in Fantasy World. You want to be able to sit down and do some damage, you might want to have a couple of these. Thought I'd mention that. What else? Again, miscellaneous. This is all miscellaneous stuff. Check it out. I got 6 of these. What is this? These are chunks of beeswax, about 70 cents a pop. I saw this, I grabbed everything that they had. I could have gotten a bigger chunk, but I actually liked these. I can put one in every bag that I've got, and that is light. That is fire starter. That is just, boy, I'll tell you what, for 70 cents of insurance, I'm having one of these in every bag. It is self-contained, solid fuel, needs no maintenance, has no requirements, and it's always there. Best 70 cents per unit I've ever spent. Was happy to find this. So I thought I'd share that little tip. By the way, I had to go to an Amish store to find this. It was not easy to find. I've been looking for months to try to find something reasonable, and when I go back there, I'll probably get some more. I'm just tickled that I found it. So what else? Oh, I was telling you, every single bottle gets washed. Every single one. And multiple utility purpose. As the bottles get emptied, we use these at the range for target shooting, and that's also awfully nice. And I got a fairly big collection, and when it gets a little too much, I take the less desirable ones, the ones that are thinner in the plastic or anything, and I'll take them in and I'll take them to the range for shooting. But I collect these in the case that the electric goes out, the gravity feed water towers, so long as that tower still has the water and the gravity feed works, I'm filling every single thing that can contain water that I can. And having these is like having almost 50 extra gallons of water. It's free, it's cheap, all I have to do is fill it with water, seal it, rinse it, shake, do it twice, let it dry out. I have instant containers. So it sounds stupid, it sounds so ridiculously simple, may be very important. Thought I'd mention it. Other things. Unwaxed wicking roll. Very good uses for this stuff. Suddenly, I'm in business. I've got enough that it's going to last me quite a long time. I probably ought to get a second roll of this stuff, because anything wicking is light. Anything wicking is a cooking source. This is what is very important to have when you need to improvise. And I'm under the assumption that everything will be improvised the moment shit hits the fan and Walmart's not available. Second thing, you've all seen the alcohol stoves. But what you can also do is take a soda can, cut it in half, drill some holes around it, drill one in the center, and you take this and with some super glue you wrap it around, and what you have, you can put the alcohol on the inside and on the side, and the sides for the priming, and you can make alcohol stoves. So again, a second use for the item. $2. $2 to wish you God you'd have spent when you really need it. These you're going to find everywhere, because what they're going to do is they're going to drink the soda, whatever they can find, and they're going to discard these. These are a hell of a tool. So I thought I'd mention those two items. Something else. Stock up. If you're going to be relying on your weapons, make sure that you have a year's supply of cleaning brushes, patches, oil, bore cleaner. Very cheap stuff to pick up, but I actually have been going to the range at least once a week, and then going to the long gun ranges, and that's a lot of gun cleaning. I tapped out my entire supply, and when I did, I said, oh, that sucks. And then I realized, man, if it started next month or next week, and that had been my situation, I wouldn't have had any gun cleaning supplies. Now, a pair of scissors and some shirts, but for $4, call it $8, I can get a year's supply. All you have to do is actually stop and get the year's supply. Even I got caught with that. Thought I'd mention that. That's just, duh. Okay. 1, 2, 3, that. I actually spent 3 minutes preparing for this video because it's all miscellaneous. So here's my last one. So far, this has worked out really good. This is traction tape, and I sat down and I cut it out and I put them in for this. And I got some criticism from a couple of the older guys that I know. They were like, seriously, dude? I mean, come on, what are you doing? Well, I'll tell you what. I've spent the better part of my life being a mechanic. I've cut my hands and bled all over the place. And let me tell you, holding a wrench, doing anything, having your hands just in motor oil, anything, things slip. And when people are shooting at you, every single little teeny detail could make all the difference. You can get a roll of traction tape for about $4 and do every single mag you got. Call it a bit of insurance. I really like this idea. That positive grip, you know, if I'm sweating, if oh God, if it slips and it falls at the wrong time, that could be bad news. It'd be amazing how 4 cents of traction tape could make all the difference. It's up to you, your choice. Okay, so I think that those are the major little updates I wanted to cover. The only thing else I can say is, if you guys are anything like our group, everybody's getting nervous. We're now to the point where we are printing out directions. We're getting hard copies. We're getting contact numbers. We're getting addresses and locations. We're setting up identification methods, what to do to identify ourselves when we're pulling in with the group to meet up. That ought to tell you everything I can tell you. It's no longer trying to wake the sheeple up. It's now the hell with the sheeple. Who are we getting together with? What are we going to start doing? One last thought. I'm going to tell you a little story. This is what really happened to me. As you'll see, I generally always wear the hat. So the first question is, how that dude was in the Corps. No, this dude was a long-haired hippie for the last 20 years. I've pretty much had hair down to the back, halfway down my back. I was at the range, and I was talking to a lawyer who happens to shoot with us. When you have a concealed weapons permit, he was talking about, you know, your nature, your behavior, your dress. If you think that they're not profiling, you're wrong. And his comments made a lot of sense. He said, if you dress like a Hell's Angel, how do you expect the cops to treat you? And then when they find out you're armed, how do you think they're going to treat you? And I said, well, I can't argue with that. And since I shoot with a whole bunch of Air Force guys, they really hate the Marines. So me being me, I said, you know what? I'm going to go cut the hair, which I did. I donated the hair to Locks of Love, and I settled on a Marine haircut. And I ordered the Marine hats, and I rolled into the range, and I pissed every single Air Force guy there off, and I just absolutely loved it. And I loved it so much, I ordered 2 more hats 2 days ago. But there's something else. I've met a lot of Marines, and the first thing I tell them is, no, I was not in the Marines. I explained to them the story about pissing the Air Force guys off, and it's now changed to, I've pissed the Air Force guys off, but I've met a lot of really good people. Long story short, I met a Marine. We got to talking. We started talking about prepping. Next thing you know, I find out the guy's 8 houses down. He's in my neighborhood. We now have email, and we've been communicating back and forth. Interesting discussions. Never would have dreamed that it would have worked that way. But little things to think about. Start thinking about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, where you're going to do it, who you're going to be doing it with. Pay attention to the political scene. And I will keep putting out little tidbits of things that I've learned from hundreds of people, and hopefully share some good information with you all. Otherwise, looks like 20 minutes. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.